400,000, something like that, within days. Yeah, it was huge, and it sent all the aid organizations into total overdrive, and it was too much for anyone to handle. But everyone kind of did what they could.
Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to The Struggle. The alt-right threatened a massive march in Washington, D.C. to celebrate their thuggery and murder in Charlottesville last year. As the day approached, there was talk of whole trains full of alt-right figures coming down to D.C. But then the Transit Workers Union strongly objected, and that was abandoned. Perhaps the idea that the alt-right would have to mingle with regular, normal people bothered them, shook them up, because they didn't turn out. The thousands predicted were then hundreds, and then in the end, only about 30 showed up. They left off their Nazi regalia and hid behind American flags and a wall of police. Thousands did show up in D.C., but they were anti-fascists of all kinds. This is a contingent from ISO, the International Socialist Organization. The next couple minutes are terribly sad. A doctor responding to the wounded in Gaza finds one of the mortally wounded is his own son.
سامحني حبيبي سامح بابا بحبك يا بابا حابب اني اكذب عينيا واقول انه هو هذا الشخص اللي انا شايفه مش ساري، بس اقتربت منه يعني هو ساري بس انا يعني حبيت اني اكذب عينيا واقول لا هذا مش ساري. وضعه مكتوب على صدره مجهول، وكلمة مجهول كان في تحتيه بركة من الدم. في نهاية الأمر لقيته في أحد جرن من جرن المستشفى جسم بنزف مكتوب على صدره مجهول رقم 1. كون إنه هو ملوش أهل مرمي في جرنة من جرن الاستقبال. حكالي الدكتور إنه بندخله الأكسجين 100%، ما بيستقبل إلا بس يا دوبك 50%. فطبعا أنا قلت خلص الولد اليوم حيكون النهاية للحياة بالنسبة له، وحيكون الأنفاس الأخيرة. بشحتها منك ما تخلينا نستشهد اليوم. يا رب رجع لي ساري. انت اللي خلقت ساري، فانت انا متاكد انه انت بتحبه، وانا اقسم لك بنفس القسم انه ساري بيحبك. وكتير كان مرتاح انه ايد ابوه اللي بتلمسه مش ايد اي حد تاني. كنت وانا عنده وانا معاه كل اعصابي تكون متماسكه تماما وقوي قوي 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 جدا. والحمد لله انا كثير مبسوط من النقطه هذه، انه ما شافش دمعه نهائي ساري، وكانت معنويات ساري مرتفعه فوق السماء في نفس الوقت اللي كانت انا معنوياتي في الارض محطوطه. كنت اطلع من عنده من العنايه المركزه اروح على صاله الانتظار في مار يوسف واقعد ابكي وانهار من البكاء. قلت له يا بابا اتمنى لي نفس موتك. هو اكيد سامعني واكيد فهمني، وهو انتقل لربه صحيح الاحسن مني.
In response to the bus bombing in Yemen, a group of us stood on a New Haven city street with signs and banners. And we called this protest because of a horrible atrocity in Yemen, one that the U.S. government is partly responsible for. The Saudi Air Force, or the UAE Air Force, bombed a school bus deliberately in Saada in northern Yemen, and there was a horror show. At least 40 children on this school bus were killed. Evidently it was some kind of summer activity connected with a school. And others, the teachers on board, some of them were killed and scores of people were injured. And the United States is implicated in this for the plain reason that we sell the Saudis the weapons, and we help the Saudi Air Force with in-flight air refueling, and we help the Saudis with targeting, and we help the Saudis at the UN by covering up what they do and giving some kind of fig leaf once in a while for their intervention. Remember back, this whole enterprise is a crime of aggression. There was vicious fighting inside of Yemen, and we're not taking the side of any of those parties, but the Saudis attacked unprovoked. None of these parties in Yemen were threatening or attacking Saudi Arabia. Nor did the United Nations Security Council give Saudi Arabia or any other outside force permission to use military force in Yemen. But they did so, and the results have been appalling. Thousands of people dead, at least 10,000 civilians, directly from the military bombings and shootings. And then there's thousands, 10, who knows how many thousands of children. UNICEF did a report years ago, I think 2 years ago, that said 10,000 excess children had died because of lack of proper water and lack of their access to their usual medicine. So we're talking at least 20,000 people, probably lots more. It's a horrible atrocity what's going on. It's aggression. And the United States is up to its ears in it. And the Trump administration has carried on the awful policies of the Obama administration on this. And so we are here in protest of this bus bombing. And there's another aspect. There was a report by the Associated Press something almost unbelievable, that the United States Pentagon, the military forces, are working with Al-Qaeda in Yemen. That the Trump administration is so enthusiastic in supporting the Saudi effort against Ansar Allah, sometimes called the Houthis, that they will drop the whole war on terror and actually work with Al-Qaeda forces to give them money to temporarily stop fighting, or they'll give them money to clear out for a while, and then they proclaim victory. I mean, it's the Associated Press did a very thorough report on this. It's outrageous, and there should be a full congressional investigation. There's questions of treason in this. We've expended billions and billions of dollars on this so-called war on terror because of 9/11, because of the Al-Qaeda attack in New York City and elsewhere. And now we're working with Al-Qaeda? I mean, people involved with that should be punished. There should be a full investigation. Passerby response was good. Horns were honked in our favor. And there was an excellent article in the New Haven Register. We need more actions like this around the country, and bigger. Now, Syrian refugees, a trip by a Connecticut man to Jordan, to its free zone, to help those refugees.
On July 15, 2018, the Syrian American Council mission to Jordan, along with Awesome and Med Global, delivered urgently needed aid to approximately 200 IDPs along the border with Syria and Jordan in what they call the free zone. We ordered 35 packages of food and 35 packages of hygiene from a local market near the border. We reviewed the contents of one food package, and we reviewed the contents of one hygiene package, and we decided to add a few items that we thought were essential. Dr. Zahir Sahlul sponsored this initiative through Med Global. We hired a truck driver and loaded the truck with the packages, and we drove to the free zone, which is not easily accessed. It is patrolled by the Jordanian Army and Intelligence. We discussed the possibility of handing out the aid in person with the IDPs, but the Jordanian Army did not feel like that was a prudent idea. We agreed on the idea of loading the aid into a medical tent in the free zone. We made sure all of the packages were in the tent. We inspected them one last time. And then we had a conversation with a doctor in charge who assured us that the aid would be delivered as soon as possible by the Jordanian army. Here are some of the Syrian IDPs seeking medical attention in the free zone. We received confirmation on the following day, July 16th at 2 p.m., that the aid had been delivered by the Jordanian army. And we sincerely hope that this aid helped to better their lives. Thank you to all involved in this effort, and for showing me what advocacy in action looks like.
After seeing that video, I interviewed Dylan Connor for 40 minutes. We'll have the first segment of that interview now. In Stratford, Connecticut, I'll be speaking to Dylan Connor. He's a teacher, a singer, a songwriter from Connecticut, and he went on a mission to Jordan, Syria, with the Syrian American Council. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
All right. So you went to the free zone. What is that?
Okay. The free zone is actually called that not because it's like a place where people find freedom. It is a place between Syria and Jordan. It's neither Syria nor Jordan. And it's an area that it's called a free zone because you can buy duty free, essentially. So people like to go there to purchase goods like without taxes. But because of the recent situation on the border between Syria and Jordan, that free zone has become a ghost town. There's no business there anymore. It's totally dried up. The gates have been closed. The border's closed. So that free zone has been used as a place to kind of handle the border security. So when I went there, it was the first morning of the mission. Myself, Kristen Connolly, American friend of mine, and Dr. Talal Sunbuli, the founder of Syrian American Council from Chicago, and our ground team from AWSM, UOSSM, the acronym for a Union of Syrian Medical Relief Organizations. We all went to the free zone because that's where they were treating the recently displaced from the uptick in the war in Daraa in particular.
So let's set the context. I mean, the war has been going on forever. I mean, at least 2011, let's say, and massive displacement. But this thing with Daraa is something new.
Yes, and it was a surprise. What happened in Daraa was a complete surprise to the rebels on the ground, the people on the ground, as well as the aid workers working in the area. There was a de-escalation zone agreement between Trump and Putin, and that Daraa was, and that province was a no-go zone. No bombing, no keep it quiet kind of deal. And just without warning, it was trampled upon in June of this year.
By whom?
Assad in Russia. And they bombed the heck out of it and sent everyone running out of Daraa. Obviously, lots of people were killed. Lots of people tried to escape. And they went either to the area called Quneitra on the border with Israel or to the Jordanian border, expecting the Jordanians would probably let them in, but they didn't.
And we're talking about huge numbers of people.
Yes, I would say approximately between 400,000, something like that, within days. Yeah, it was huge. And it sent all the aid organizations into total overdrive, and it was too much for anyone to handle, but everyone kind of did what they could.
And Israel wouldn't let anybody into the part of Syria it controlled, and Jordan hasn't allowed Syrians. I mean, it was very generous for years, taking in hundreds of thousands, but that stopped a couple of years ago.
Correct.
And these people ran to the border.
That's right. Exactly. I would say that, Israel has let in no Syrian refugees. They've been helpful and, strangely helpful in other ways that I don't think Syrians expected, but it has to do with when they go and bomb anything having to do with Hezbollah or Iran. So they're fine with Assad, but when, Iran...
An enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. But Jordan, as you said, had let in a large number of refugees and has been very gracious to them, and we definitely appreciate it. But this time around, they said, no, we've done our part. Like, someone else has to deal with this. We're not dealing with it, and that was disappointing. But at the same time, it was the Jordanian people who rushed to the aid of the Syrians who were stranded at the border by delivering all kinds of aid, food, hygiene, and all that. So we were impressed by that and thankful for that, and the Syrian American Council wanted to respond by getting our boots on the ground. So that's why I volunteered to go at that time. I arrived July 10th and stayed for 9 days.
Mm-hmm. And all that time you were in Jordan and the free zone, but not in Syria.
Correct. Yeah, my wife and I have an agreement, as we both do aid work, my father as well, that we don't go over that border because I think it's not necessary and it's too dangerous. There are people in the border or beyond the border who know the ground, who do the work. I don't need to be one of them.
So tell us about what happened inside the free zone. Who was there? What Syrians?
The Syrians who were there were the sick. Mostly it was sick children that we witnessed suffering severe dehydration. Um, it was it was a really difficult thing to walk into because I left from Stratford, Connecticut, and within 24 hours I was in this weird free zone place. It felt like a ghost town. I saw the Syrian border over the barbed wire fence, and it was hot, and there were army and intelligence from the Jordanians, but no people, regular people, and except for these Syrians inside the tents who were, people with nothing, women, no men. There weren't any men. It was mothers and children, and they had run from the bombings, and they have nothing but the shirts on their back. They had no food, no water, and they had said that the first woman I talked to, who I can show you a photo of, and with her child, she's from Dara, and she said, we have nothing. We need everything. We haven't eaten since yesterday. They gave us some bread yesterday. It was my sense that from all the people I talked to, it became the sense of my team that the Jordanian government wanted to make the Syrians a bit uncomfortable so that they didn't want to stay on that border. I think they were wanting them to return. So, keeping them with the most basic aid, bread maybe or whatever, but they weren't going far beyond that.
This is just a couple hundred people.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So by the time we arrived, things had changed. Assad had taken control of the road from Daraa to Jordan, and had pretty much said, come back to Daraa if you're on the border there, and that's what people did.
So of the 400,000, there wasn't many people on the other side of the fence?
No, not at all. However, a lot of those people transferred from Jordan over to the Quneitra area. So either they went home, or if they totally didn't trust that idea, they went toward Israel. So when I got there were about 200 people there. And we were not allowed to see them face to face unless they were the sick in the tent. Because the Jordanian army, and I can see why, would think it was not a good idea to bring a group of Americans face to face with unvetted Syrians who they claim, could have been Daesh or ISIS or who knows, who they are. And that was the line.
Yeah.
Of course, we would have liked to see them personally, but.
So in the video that you made, you transferred aid, but it wasn't the usual way, joyful kids taking the stuff. And could you describe it?
Yes. So after that first visit to the free zone, we did realize that the people who were on the other side of that fence that we weren't seeing were in need of food and hygiene, just from the little interviews we did with people in the tents, with the Syrians in the tents. So we asked the army, can we bring some aid? And they were okay with that. So we were very surprised, one, that they allowed us to do it, and two, thankful that they allowed us to do it, and surprised that they were going to let us back into the free zone, because we at first thought we wouldn't get access at all, and then we got access, and we ended up getting access 3 times, whereas other even major media outlets weren't getting access to this area. So what we did was one of my team members was named Dr. Zahir Sahlul, very prominent activist and doctor, was the president of the Syrian American Medical Society, now is the president of Med Global, and also does work with Awesome, and came with us as the Syrian American Council, so he wears a lot of hats. And he was able to sponsor the food and hygiene aid through Med Global. So what we did was, and I really loved this part of the trip, because this is something I didn't expect to be able to do. And it was the kind of aid work I've always wanted to do. that didn't think it would be available to me, which was to literally just do it from scratch. Okay, this is how many people are in need. We have to call the supermarket, or the market, not a supermarket, but the market that's close to the border. We have to order how much? Okay, so there's this many families. We're going to do 35 family packages of food and 35 family packages of hygiene, totaling 70 packages. And so we ordered from the market. They're used to doing this. They've done this the markets have done this kind of work before. It's interesting to think, how is that affecting the Jordanian economy, right? With people going to do aid work and ordering incredible amounts of food that you would never do on a normal day. Or the toy store. I went to the toy store to buy for a village, We bought up, a good chunk of the store. Interesting just to think about the economy of it all. And so we got to the market. Because it was so short notice, unfortunately, we had in garbage bags rather than in the typical boxes, which are a nicer presentation to people. But we didn't have time. It was urgent. So we then went into the shop and we opened one bag of the food and one bag of the hygiene. We went through each item and decided, okay, we want to add this here, we want to add this here. We got diapers, we added those in. So it was very kind of just in the moment, reactionary and urgent. And then we hired a truck driver, and the truck driver came in, backed up, and we loaded the stuff out of the market and we got it on the truck. And then the truck driver followed us to the free zone, and we got in. And we asked the Army, can we please pass this out in person with the IDPs? And they said, no way.
So the IDPs in the free zone.
Yeah, so, this is tricky. I'm not sure. I would say they were on the other side of the fence of the free zone.
The Syrian side.
Yes. So the 200 IDPs are there, but we weren't able to meet with them, to give them the aid, because whatever security concerns there were.
So in your video, it's sort of very elaborate, this dance to get them the stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just happy they let us drop it at all.